Marknaderna reagerar drastiskt på ett amerikanskt besked om att Iran är nära förestående ett omfattande raketangrepp riktat mot Israel. Med oss för att diskutera det här, Kevin O'Dowd, a good friend of EFN, and you've been a stockbroker for decades. What are the gut risk-off trades on a moment like this?
The first incline I always have is to go back to Sir Rothschild, a London financier back in the early 1800s, which the philosophy for me has always been buy on the cannons and sell on the trumpets. But it's like, what do you buy? And also right now, you're going to see a risk-off trade.
You see oil markets coming up. You see gold coming up. Bitcoin going down. For some reasons, people seem to be selling their Bitcoin to buy gold.
Buy gold. It makes sense. And also to buy oil and energy. So you're going to get, I think, an energy trade on which those stocks and the commodity have been absolutely hammered. Gold has been strong, will continue to get stronger. I think you'll see silver breaking out. You know, I would get long. And just to put this in a perspective for you, when you look at the ETF in the US, which is the XLK, which is the technology ETF, that's down 1.75% today. There's $70 billion in that ETF. You know, likewise, the XME, which is the minings and metals ETF, that has about $1.5 billion. So if you can get a rotation out of the XLK, some of those monies and flowing into metals and mining, I think you get a big upside move in metals and mining right now. So that's, you know, a sector that I would be taking a good hard look at.
Essentially, money will flow out of tech as a risk-off move.
Risk-off, exactly.
And into mining.
100%.
But this sounds like a delayed trade, not a gut reaction. Or what are we looking at, a couple of days? Or?
You know, well, just to put it in perspective for you, when you look at the U.S. right now, we're down about 1.75%. Tech's off 1.75%, 2%. And the XME, the metals and mining trade, is up 30 bips right now. So just to be holding its own in this type of environment, I think sets the stage for a nice rally in energy, metals, mining, commodities. That's what I would be taking a look at.
I want to get back to the trumpets and the cannons. But before that, this was an up day in markets, in stock markets. We're down 0.7 on the OMX SPI. Brent oil crude is up 2%, was up 2.5% earlier. Also, I want to mention the dollar. The American dollar tends to get stronger on a day like this.
Absolutely. Okay. And quite frankly, going into the presidency, we're looking for some dollar weakness. However, when you get an event like this, you're always going to see initially some dollar strength. And I think it's one of the few times where you get dollar strength and gold strength simultaneously, because usually it's an inverse trade.
We've been rather numb to global risk, especially when talking about the Middle East. Recently, I feel like the tension has been growing for some time, but markets hasn't really paid attention. Do you think that will shift today, or do you think we will just go back?
You know, look, I think Iran has to show some strength. Okay, but likewise, they have an administration that wants to try to open themselves up to the world. So, but you know, if history is of any guide, the U.S. has been able to intercept these missiles. That's a good question. I'm going to have to think
about that. We had the Iron Dome, obviously, of Israel and the U.S. standing by, so this might be a non-event. But the warnings of the American administration is usually pretty accurate, so it's interesting to see. It's October 1st today. September has been stronger than usual. I believe you have a saying that October brings surprises.
This is the October surprise. Since 1956 in the Eisenhower administration, you know, every October prior to an election, we get what's called the October surprise. All right. And I didn't know if it was going to be coming from Hamas, if it was coming from Iran, if it was going to be coming from Israel, if it was going to be something happening in the States. But this is the beginning of the October surprise. Typically, if we have a strong September before an election, we have a weak October. So it doesn't surprise me.
Still, it's surprising to see these kind of reactions. You mentioned, was it sell the trumpets or buy the cannons?
It's buy on the cannons and sell on the trumpets. The key is, what do you buy?
But this is the cannons.
Yes.
This is the outbreak of potential
trade.
Escalation in a global conflict.
This is the cannon trade. What do I buy? Where everybody is, you know, looking what to sell and running. What do we buy?
And we're looking at mining. We're looking at
oil,
oil,
energy, mining, oil, gold stocks, defense stocks. these are the names right now that I would be participating in.
And when the trumpets of peace, hopefully soon, rings, you'd be selling the same assets.
Yeah, and maybe coming back into tech. We'll see how far tech comes in.
What's your gut feel about this being a non-event then? There's a good chance that the American and Israelis can handle this conflict. There's a chance that the Iranians, they want to make a scene, make some theater play, but not actually escalate.
Sure. We'll hope it's a non-event, but as you and I both know, hope's not a strategy.
Kevin, no doubt, having you in the studio is always a winning strategy. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fortsätt följa oss på EFN för fortsatta uppdateringar förstås om hur marknaden tar emot beskedet om konflikten och hur den utvecklas. Tack för oss.